United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 21st and April 4th. So we're just going to take a few minutes up here, take a look at our minutes from then, and when everybody's ready. We are. What's that? They should be in your packet. Okay. No? March 21st and April 4th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if everybody's good,
I'll make a motion.
Gary makes the motion. Can I get a second? Dan Joy seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Minutes are approved. All right, moratorium on solar array farms. Tara, do you have the notice that was
Yes,
in the
I do.
newspaper?
Please take notice that the Town of Board of the Town of Cairo shall hold a public hearing on May 2nd, 2016 at 7:00 p.m. at the Town Hall, 512 Main Street, Cairo, New York, for a local law establishing a moratorium for the approval of solar arrays in the town. All those interested will be heard. Copies of the proposed local law and maps are available in the town clerk's office by order of the town board.
Okay. Basically, it's the town board's understanding that there are a lot of companies called ESCOs that are going around and looking for places that they can put these solar farms on private property. When the town did its zoning law, it did not address these private solar farms. And there are a lot of fly-by-night companies that are running around and causing problems with a lot of people, tying up their property in very onerous leases that people can't get out from under. They have trouble selling their property, all sorts of issues with these things. So we decided that the best thing that we could do right now was to put a moratorium on the ability for these companies to come in and lease land and put these solar farms down until we can address this in the revised zoning law that is going to be worked on here. So that being said, we have this proposed law to put this 12-month moratorium on these solar farms. And part of the process, of course, is to have a public hearing on the matter, and that's what we're open for here tonight. So that being said, is there any questions or public comment regarding the proposal to stop these for 12 months? Yes, Ed?
Does this affect the county project over?
It does not affect the county project or the project that the town is working on at this time. It wouldn't affect any government project.
Okay.
They are exempted from. John?
Dan, is there an increase, and Tal, correct me if I'm wrong, with a moratorium, you have to show an increase in people coming forward and applying for applications for a particular use, and in this situation would be a solar farm. Years ago, we tried to implement a moratorium on resorts going into apartments. We didn't have enough resorts that were going into become apartments, so we couldn't pass a local moratorium. Now, how many people have actually applied to the building department for this?
Not for a farm,
None.
no, they're all private.
All private. So how can the town, if this law is still in place, how can the town implement a moratorium if there's not an increase in, I'll say, demand, on the building department? I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
We don't want, this to become a big issue and have it out of control. But on the other hand, is it really fair to people that have done their homework, have chosen a reputable dealer, and want to move forward with it?
Well, there's sort of a two-stage question and answer there. And the first part of it is that it's not necessarily that it's applications that have come before the town, but rather the fact that we know that these entities are out there, and that therefore that's the reason why the board has chosen to go in this direction. The second point is how can it be fair to those that have chosen reputable companies and are prepared to move forward? And within the law itself, there is a variance application that can come in. So if somebody feels that they have good cause, they can apply to the board for a variance to be able to go forward with their application.
One of the things that brought this to the forefront was a discussion that I had last month, or about almost 2 months ago now, with the town of Durham Supervisor Bill Carr. And we had, we have that meeting, once a month meeting that the supervisors tend to meet. And this was a topic, a serious topic of conversation amongst all the supervisors. Was it not in Cairo, right, we haven't had the citizens come and to get these applications in, but Durham has had them, Coxsackie has had them, a number of people have had them, and this was one of the things that they were saying. Some of these ESCOs are coming and they're putting these things in, and it's actually costing the people money, where they're losing money on the proposition. And this was something that wasn't addressed in our zoning law, and we just felt that it would be prudent for us to move forward now and stop it before any of our people got hurt by these companies. And like Tal says, if somebody has a hardship or has done their homework and wants to apply for a variance to allow them to go forward, there is a mechanism in here to allow that to occur.
And I'm just reading the announcement, if I could just interrupt you. It says, suffer an unnecessary hardship. Define unnecessary hardship. There's no definition.
Right.
If I were to go to the variance board, what is your definition of unnecessary, suffering unnecessary hardship, and mine could be two totally different things. It's not defined here.
Right.
So I don't think the town is really in a position yet to implement the moratorium, which I'm not saying I'm not in favor of, but I think, one, a year is too long, and two, I think this needs to be, the proposed local law needs to be fine-tuned a little bit before we go ahead and implement this moratorium.
What sort of fine tuning, John, would
Well,
you
one would be
suggest?
some definitions, the definition here, hardship. Now, I own 95 acres.
Mhm.
If I choose to put a solar farm in the middle of the 95 acres, where I have plenty of setback from other properties, no, it wouldn't be seen from a road, what's my hardship? How would I ever get a variance? They would never give it to me. So that's why I think we need to have some definitions in our proposed local. Well, that's just my opinion, but I think the board should give it a little more thought. And are we in a position to, I know you're concerned about all the taxpayers.
Right.
But isn't it really up to the individual taxpayer to decide who they're gonna have come in? We decide who our plumbers are, we decide who our contractors are. The town doesn't put a moratorium on those things. It's really up to the individual property owner.
Any other comments or concerns from the
I agree.
public?
With what he's saying.
I can't say that.
You agree with what he's saying? Okay.
And what is the rough potential of financial loss that a person could suffer in a case like this if you were to just, choose a company that isn't reputable and?
Well, it really, I guess a lot of it would depend on the type of agreement that they would have with the company. How their land would be tied up for what number of years, whether they would have to get the company's approval to